Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed Smith. On Sunday mornings, I like to take a look back at the week that was, if you will, and what have we looked at. And so this Sunday, it's kind of special, actually, because I started this process several weeks ago and then took a 10-day brief stint off. And so I'm going to highlight some of the teams that we did before that break and before the mute button went on, because it sounded like nobody wanted to hear me. So now that we have that all fixed, we're kind of starting again and have some more content that's hit the waves. Even yesterday there was some that hit the waves, and Friday, I guess. But now kind of looking back at some of the ones previewed before, and decided not to re-preview them because they were there, and I didn't want to over-break them down, if you will. But teams that were broken down before the break were the long-time dynasty that I've been in, the 12-team, and the Friends and Family League, that's a 10-team, and then the Franchise League, that's a 32-team, and then also a 12-team that I started maybe the first of the group of leagues that I started the summer of 2020. And that league, actually, one of the takeaways from sort of the first stint of going through these teams for me was how important tight ends are, and needing to look at the scoring, and especially in two tight end leagues, what the importance of the tight end is, and then also knowing the scoring. I know we talk about knowing the scoring, and I try not to get too over zealous with adjusting to scoring, because I think that can get you lost in the weeds. I mean, players are still players, and 3 for 32 tight ends are still 3 for 32 tight ends, and so if they score 14 or they score 11, it's not critical to where they are in the world. And so I try not to lose focus on that, but when you start adding starting positions, it does make a difference. And so I do have taken that away as one of the bullet points from what I've personally learned going through the teams. So excited for where we go in this next group of, it'll be 9 teams, I guess, that we'll preview next Sunday as we look at the questions in the mailbag. But the question in the mailbag that you guys probably saw in the comments that we're going to dive into is one of my league mates in the 10-team league, the Friends and Family League. He goes by the name DHart on Sleeper, and so if you see him in any other leagues, you'll know who that is. But he actually won the very first 2 leagues, or years in this league, and so he's a back-to-back champion. And he saw me breaking down my team and said, hey, you need to break down his team. And that makes some sense, because here's a guy that did not draft a team at the beginning, so he took over an orphan team and turned it into something, and went from a guy that didn't care to from taking over a team for a guy that didn't care to somebody that did, and he turned it into a back-to-back champion. And out of all 75 leagues, he was one of 2 back-to-back champions. And so I guess I say that it's hard to do. It's just hard to be a back-to-back champion, and I guess I feel fortunate to have pulled that off one time as well. So I'm going to hope that he doesn't three-peat, and I think my team is getting better each week. But we're going to look at his team now. This is kind of his moment in the sun, and one of the things that I think makes Dan special in this league is that he's relentless on the waiver wire, and I usually track who is the most relentless on the waiver wire. Fantasy Pros does that for me, kind of tracks all the moves in each of my leagues in pure number, and I like to be at the top. Excuse me, my goodness, I was sneezing this morning, so I don't have the sneeze button yet in my forte, but thank you for that pause there. And I don't have I try to be the most active waiver person, and churn through the waiver wires on these deep benches, and not drop people too early, but also not be afraid to move on and just churn the bench, looking for the good player, and not get caught up in holding the player too long either. So in this league, Dan is actually our number 1 waiver wire maneuver. He seems to always pull the Elijah Mitchells of the world. Oh, and he always has those guys. He always has Elijah Mitchell. He always has Brandon Ayuk. He had Mostert. He just always has those guys. He's always first to get those guys. So credit to him. And he's always on top of the waiver wire and the fab budget, outbidding people and knowing what people are going to bid, and he's got that figured out. And that's something I can learn from him. The other thing is he's a relentless trader, and he takes trading. He trades at a different with a different approach than I do. So I do more supply and demand type trading. Dan's always looking at your team and trying to maneuver a way that he can get the player he wants, but make it appear that you're getting better. Whether you are or not, it's kind of a relative thing, but he always tries to make it look like you're getting better so he can sell you on the trade for you. And so I appreciate that about him, because he's always able to spin it so that you're getting better. And like, why wouldn't you make the trade with him? Because he's making you better. Like, he's your hero guy because he's making your team better. Why wouldn't you make the trade? And he's okay with losing a trade, and I guess this is where I probably differ from him. I'm trying to win every trade, and he's okay with losing a trade because he can see ahead and say, if I lose here, I'll win there, and I'll win even more there, and so it's okay. Like, and he can kind of just stack his trades, and he can do that at a better. Like, I'm never sure if I'm going to be able to make the next deal, so I feel like I have to make sure that this deal makes sense. So I can't stack the deals or see that in my head quite well enough, like he can. So give him credit for that. Now let's look at the actual players and the championship players that he has, and he just doesn't have any holes. And so with one starting quarterback and one super flex, he trots out Josh Allen and he has Russ Wilson, but now he has Trey Lance ready to come behind it. Now, he doesn't have a whole lot else. He's got Tyler Huntley, but if you think about Tyler Huntley, he's the best backup in football. He is the absolute best backup in football, I would say. And so he has him, as far as from a fantasy standpoint, he has the best backup in football. And then he's got three players that are possibly top 10 quarterbacks in a 10-team league. So he's got three of the top 10. That means there's only 7 left for the other 9 teams. So, I mean, he is able to do supply and demand without using a whole lot of roster spots on that supply and demand. Then we look at his running back core, which is strong. Maybe he got this from me, I don't know. I'm a running back, I guess, person. I try to have a lot of them, that way if they get hurt, I have more. And so he starts with Eckler. He has Penny. So Penny's another one of his waiver wire guys. Like, he just went to the waiver wire, got Penny, and now he sits with him. He's got Barkley. I mean, he's a Giants fan. That maybe shows there a little bit, but Barkley, still 24 years old, so he's still not an old running back by any means, and could become a top 5. Nobody would be shocked if he would be a top 5 running back this year. He's got Khalil Herbert. He's got Hilliard. Again, another waiver wire guy. He's first on the waivers against Hilliard for the Titans. He's got Pollard. He's got Booker. He's got Elijah Mitchell. He's got Gore from the Chiefs, another waiver wire ad. He's got Boston Scott, another waiver wire ad. He's got Uguawale. He's got Nwangu. He's got Duke Johnson, another waiver wire ad. He's got Jared Patterson. He's got ETN. He's got Salman Ahmad. He's got Stevenson from the Pats, and then he's got Evans from the Cincinnati Bengals. But so we look at ETN, he's got him coming, he's got Mitchell, and then he's got Barkley, Penny, Eckler, and he really only needs 2. He could use 5, but he really only needs 2 of those guys to be studs. And he's got plenty to choose from. He's got Stevenson coming in behind. So he's got options. It doesn't matter where he is. So that's always an opportunity for him. At the receiver room, he's got Deontay Johnson, Keenan Allen, and Lamb. And so he only needs 3. I mean, think about that. He's got 3 right there that are top end, top 15 guys. And then he's got Tony, he's got Nico Collins, Chris Godwin, he's got Calvin Ridley, and then he's got some low end projects in Marshall and Strachan. But again, he only needs 3. He could have 6, just like at running backs. He could have 5, but he can definitely mix and match 3. Bona fide flexes in that mix. And then if we look at his tight ends, he's got Kelsey, and he's got Knox behind Kelsey. So he doesn't have many tight ends, but he's got 2 that could start, and he could really flex out Knox on the non-Kelsey bye week. And so, or if Kelsey got hurt, he just starts in Knox. Like, it's not a big deal, and yet he's got the best tight end in Kelsey probably over the last 5 years. So, he doesn't go down. And then we look at his defense. He's got Pittsburgh and Arizona. I mean, maybe he just likes the Watt brothers, but if you think about it, those are guys that are going to produce sacks and he's going to get points on his defensive side of the ball. So as I break down his team, I don't see any holes, and I think that's what I come away with. And he's just relentless with the fab budget and on waivers, and he's relentless making trades. In 2020, he made 11 trades. In 2021, he made 9 trades. And I think that's the big key to getting the back-to-back championships. And like I said, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he doesn't get a third. I don't want to hear about it, not number one. But number two, more so than that, I want to win this league. And this is a league now that it's become a pride league for me, and I want to come out and win it and not let him win 3 in a row. And I'm fortunate to play in a redraft league with Dan, and he runs that league. And, haven't won that in 2 years either. So, it's time for me to get back into winning ways and get to some wins. So excited for that, but really a shout out to him and diving into his team and excited for where he's heading, and really don't see any holes. So it would not shock me if he churned his way into another victory or got back to the championship game at the very minimum with this team. So good team, Dan. Good way to make a run, and congratulations on the back-to-backs. And until next time, want you to hit that like button. And comment on Dan's team. Beat him up a little bit. You guys always beat me up, so beat him up a little bit on his team and tell him why his team won't three-peat, and tell him really why my team is better than his team, which we've previewed. But even if you're not going to do that, if you want your team previewed in the coming weeks, post a message right to the board, and I'd love to see your comments. I'd love for you to like the channel. I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bar bell so that whenever new content comes out, you get notified and can listen to it. And just appreciate you guys all being part of the Clown Show and being a part of my journey in fantasy football. So thank you for that, and look forward to coming to you tomorrow, and then also next week breaking down another team. So until next time, we'll talk soon.